Welcome to a special presentation with Kadena Ecosystem. In this episode, we'll be joined by Wolf Finance as well as members from the Koala Wallet and Kadena teams. This conversation was recorded on July 12th, 2023, live on Twitter Spaces. The views and expressions in this AMA do not represent the views of Kadena Ecosystem directly and are not to be considered as financial advice. Please make sure to do your own research on the projects presented. Also, make sure to subscribe to our account to be alerted of new uploads. Now let's get started. Enjoy!
We're looking pretty good here to get rolling with my next space. It is going to be with the Kadena team, the Kadena squad. We've been having a lot of really fun spaces with them over the last couple of months. Kadena is one of my favorite blockchains. For people that are unfamiliar with it, you're going to learn a little bit more about it today. We already have, I see Koby on stage. Going ahead and I dropped you a co-host invite if you want to grab that, Koby, and we're going to get right into it in just a second. But how's your mic working? Everything sound good?
I think we're live. How you doing, Wolf?
I am good. I'm good. Back from Tel Aviv?
Yes, sir. Just came back from Tel Aviv, more recently from the gym, so I'm pumped up, excited to talk about Kadena and what we've been up to at Koala Wallet.
Perfect. Okay. Rhino, how's everything going by you?
Absolutely awesome. How are you? Great to be here. Excited to talk about all the things that we're doing Marmalade focused wise, and as always, a pleasure to share the next hour with you guys.
Fantastic. Okay, and Amir, we have you on stage. How's your mic working?
Hopefully working good. Having a good day, so hopefully it continues. I didn't jinx it.
That's good. Sounds well on my end. Okay, cool. Wanted to just test all your mics. I know that we also have the Koala Wallet account up here if you're going to be talking at all. And we've got, and we've got the Crypto Sensei account up here as well. I'll go ahead, Rhino, and I'll drop you the other co-host if you want to grab that, and we can get rolling here. We are going to start off with some introductions. Koby, if you want to take it first, would be good to hear from you a little bit about how you got involved with crypto, Kadena, and your role with Kadena.
Sure. So I get to be a part of the fan squad here too, to hype up the team and to hype up Kadena blockchain. Since I'm one of the people behind Koala Wallet, which is one of the leading wallets for Kadena, and quickly a lot of different assets coming into the ecosystem. I personally got really involved in crypto, or at least really interested with Dogecoin back in 2013. I was a bit younger, and dogs with money and cash online was much more appealing than a white paper. But when I did later read that white paper, I got really interested in finance, in investing, and I started working in the field in about 2016. So now I work to develop Koala Wallet, which we're quickly expanding to cover a lot of different functionalities and features of what makes Kadena Kadena with packed native language and much more. And so that's why I'm here with you today to talk more about what we've done with Marmalade, what we have planned with NFTs, and some of the problems we see with NFTs in crypto wallet solutions today and how we're trying to solve those.
Perfect. Hey, I also wanted to mention, because it's going to be drawn, I believe, the winner in 2 days, sounds like. We have a giveaway running. We already have almost 400 entries to this giveaway. I just pinned it to the top of the space. I'm going to leave it as the only pinned tweet for a few minutes to make it easy for the audience to go ahead and participate, but we're giving away 50 KDA. So go ahead and go to the top of the space, check out that giveaway, participate, and we're going to keep it rolling here. Let's go over to Amir. Amir, would love to hear a little bit of background on yourself, how you got involved with crypto, Kadena, and your role.
Thank you. My name's Amir. I'm with Kadenai, and really my crypto journey's been a weird one. I kind of started with just buying up a little bit of or mining Bitcoin back when it was pennies on the dollar. Unfortunately, don't have any of that anymore. But really, that kind of started it. I've always been a big fan. Probably 2016, 2017 is when I really kind of got into it. I've got a couple years of experience with Ethereum and Solidity, and then about a year with Pact, and really, from a Kadena perspective, getting into this ecosystem, it was more of a pull for the smart contract language. I just wanted to try something different, and once I tried it, it's just a lot more. There's just a lot more to it, and I feel like it's got a lot of staying power down the road that can do a lot more than what some of the other blockchains can do. So that's kind of what's kept me hooked here.
Perfect. Thank you, Amir. Rhino, want to throw in an introduction of yourself and some of the similar questions?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a slightly, similar yet different background, I've been in tech for way too long. Actually, no, that's not fair to say. I absolutely love tech. I love gadgets. I love technology, and I love where we're going and what we're building with this industry. But my background actually started off in all things data. I actually started off building data centers, involved in data storage, data analytics, small step into some cybersecurity, and then really dipped my toes into the world of blockchain, primarily around 2017. If anybody was around at that time in the space, it was a weird and wonderful time, especially as 2018 came around. But what I found most interesting for me from a blockchain perspective was not just about how we make money on this and how we use this in a monetary or asset perspective, but more along the lines of what can we build foundationally, why does the technology exist, what can be built, what are the modular components that can be added on, how do we start off with this amazing foundation and then add components like what we started to see with NFTs and DeFi and Web3 gaming and whatnot. So I actually stepped into it from a slightly technology-focused perspective, deep diving into a lot of white papers, which I always recommend doing and reading because they really open your eyes into the great minds of the builders in the space. And I started off my real deep dive into working in this space, working for an ETH L2, so helping scale Ethereum, moved into the infrastructure side and was working with about 20 odd blockchains at the time, one of which that I got connected with was Kadena. And I will say this, before the technology sold me on Kadena being an incredible platform and blockchain ecosystem, it was the culture, which to me is actually one of the most important parts in building a business and an ecosystem and whatnot. And so the culture got me first. I was already in love with the technology. I've read the white papers multiple times, love the founders. And after spending quite some time with the team, actually joined on board, heading up partnerships as part of the BD team. And if anybody knows me, I know I've spoken with Koby countless times. I had an amazing conversation with Amir earlier today. I just love people. I love connecting with people. I love sharing in my passion. I love sharing in Web3 and what we're building. And so I guess it really helps in my role as leading partnerships and working with people day in, day out. But yeah, I'm very passionate about the space, love Web3 and love what we're building and seeing out there.
Perfect rundown there, Rhino. Hey, Koby, is there anyone that's going to be talking from behind the Koala Wallet account?
It's just me. I'll talk double.
Okay, sounds good. Hey, real quick, before we get into the rest of the questions, Sensei, since we do have you up here, do you want to give just a brief intro and we'll take it from there?
I appreciate that, Gav. Thank you so much. Robert Doyle, Crypto Sensei, just a passionate crypto enthusiast in the space. I got a great YouTube channel where I talk a lot about, ISO tokens, XRP, and that kind of stuff. But yeah, if you're eager to learn and grow, send me a DM. I'd love to chat a little bit more. And I'm thankful to be up here with all these amazing people to talk about Kadena in the space. So let's get it on, man. Love it. Thank you so much, bro.
Absolutely. Perfect. Okay, let's hop right into it. Obviously, we have Marmalade V2 in the title of the space. What does that even mean to people who are unfamiliar with this? We want to get a full breakdown on this. Amir, are you the right person to start out with to give us an introduction to Marmalade V2 NFT standard and how it's innovating the NFT landscape?
I think I can kind of kick us off on that. We've had Marmalade V1 for quite some time, and it served a purpose. And really, the evolution into Marmalade V2 is more of I'd say a holistic approach to kind of capturing anything that might have been missing from V1 and really capturing what's going on in the actual NFT market space. So there's a lot of cool stuff. There's only so much innovation at once with NFTs, but really, the best way I can summarize what Marmalade V2 does for you is it is a little bit of everything and really puts a strong foundation for builders to have a consistent product. And that's very important kind of as we go go forward and the ecosystem matures, because what that allows us to do is build tools for creators. So we're not focused so much on, as builders, we're not focused so much on the technical aspects so much as making a better user experience. And I think for me, that's probably the biggest shift from what we would consider Marmalade V1 to V2. And it just adds so many new capabilities for us to tap into. There's just a lot, and really absolutely reinforcing the ability for creators to lock in their royalties. I think that's just so important. It's their artwork, it's their livelihood, and that's really important. And I think that's definitely something that sets Marmalade apart from some of the other standards that exist out there.
Cool.
If I could, oh yeah,
Jump in.
I'd love to. So you're hearing about Marmalade, which is kind of a feature and product on Kadena and Marmalade V2. But for those who don't know, this is really an NFT protocol, or rather a protocol that puts a lot of the power and functionalities that NFTs, that use case, should have had on the blockchain through Kadena's underlying tech. So combining, with no-cost transactions, energy efficiency, and putting these marketplace standards on the blockchain, Marmalade is kind of a demonstration of what Kadena and its language pact are kind of natively able to do. And I think this is a common theme of those who have listened to me talk about Kadena in having solutions for the problems that we're seeing evolve and come out with adoption in the industry. So when the founders of Kadena kind of sat down and literally interviewed leaders like Vitalik, Stuart Haber to design a blockchain that solves these anticipated problems, this is how you're seeing blockchain being limited in its adoption use cases. And these are things that they've already solved that you're seeing come out now with Marmalade and more. So it's really exciting that, in the past, I think there's been a bit slow reception on Kadena's team being a bit reactionary to these market trends. And now what we're seeing is Kadena really growing their business development, their marketing, and being able to capitalize on the next evolutions and trends in crypto, which are going to take advantage of these underlying technologies. So again, Marmalade is something that could only be baked and only be available to people very soon. Well, I guess we're already using it, right? Just because of the underlying tech of Kadena. And that's what's so exciting, that a lot of the issues that we're going to see come up, they've already solved.
Right. You want to throw any other thoughts on top of that?
Yeah, absolutely. Amir, Koby, you always do an incredible job talking about Kadena's tech. I want to use a word that I'm going to share throughout our conversations today that I think very well summarizes Marmalade and its value to creators, to builders, to developers, to anybody building in the space, leveraging NFTs and NFT technology. And that word is stackable. And the whole idea behind Marmalade is to create this stackable approach to being able to add different types of policies and capabilities to your NFTs. And if you think back to what I said originally as to why I got so interested in blockchain, being how you create this foundation and this modular building block ecosystem, Marmalade is very much like that, where we have a level set of policies, which you can't change them, they're immutable as such, but they are prescribed policies that are going to define the base layer of your NFT. And then we have another layer up where you can now have these other types of policies, also immutable. Once they're turned on, they cannot be turned off, but they help provide this customized capability or modular capability to actually building out your NFTs. And the idea behind this is NFTs have been around for quite some time. They're certainly still in their infancy, but they have been around for a number of years. And we've seen a lot of token standards or NFT standards in the marketplace from different blockchains, most of which are doing an incredible job with what they're doing. But we've taken an approach to bringing in all the good that we've seen out there and adding on top of that, not just the great capabilities and the requirements of what creators or builders want to see, but also with time, we're going to be giving the capability to create your own policies and your own ability to make to add these modular components to the NFT stack itself. So just going back to what I started off with, keep in mind the concept of stackable, because that is going to be key to what we're doing from a Marmalade perspective.
Perfect. Hopefully that gives a good amount of insights just off the top to everybody that's curious, what even is Marmalade? What's Marmalade V2? So we're going to dive a little bit further now, and I'll flip this one back at you, Rhino, and then we'll make our way around. I want to talk about how artists, users, builders, marketplaces can really maximize creativity and also unlock the full potential of their digital assets using Marmalade and how they would go about doing that.
Perfect. Thanks. And I would say this, I'm dead surprised that nobody has made a joke about Marmalade and the actual product. If anybody's eaten Marmalade before, I would love to see their faces right now. It's either Vegemite or Marmalade. It's kind of like the same thing depending on where you are in the world. But back to the actual question at hand. So probably first and foremost behind this is going to be the ability to easily control and manage royalties. So, and when I say that, most people, if not everybody that's delved into NFTs at some point, hears about the royalties. And the reason why royalties came about, which was to put the control and the ability to earn back into the hands of the creator, as opposed to management or middle management or some other centralized organization. And to date, we've seen a few ways of how royalties have been managed. Sometimes it's managed by the marketplace itself in how assets are bought, sold, traded, and then who takes what of a cut off the actual sales or trades, and what goes back in royalties to the creator. What we've done with Marmalade is we've actually baked it into a smart contract. And what that means is no matter where that asset goes, no matter where, and when I say asset, I'm talking about the NFT, no matter where it goes, no matter which marketplace it goes to, no matter who it gets sold to or traded to or swapped with, the smart contract follows that because it's baked into the actual NFT standard itself, meaning the creator always gets their fair share of their royalties. And this is critical because if you look at the market or the industry outside of NFTs and what happens with royalties and how people get gouged, here it's not just you'll get your royalty, but you'll get the royalty built into the smart contract itself. You can't argue about it. It's immutable, but it also follows the asset. So if no matter which marketplace I now position or sell this asset on, their royalties will still be guaranteed to go back to the creator. Very important.
Amir, you want to add on to that?
Yeah, I think how we empower not just artists, but there's obviously you can't do anything for free, right? And I think the big fee war, right, is over now, and especially in the market we're in today, there's just not as much activity, and it all goes in cycles. But really, for me, when you think about the artist's perspective, that's usually where I'm going to focus on. But I think it's important to also note from a marketplace perspective, if you're a wallet, and obviously Koby, you're on here, but if you're a wallet, if you're a marketplace, if you're a third-party service, and certainly like for me, I plan on being able to sell and transfer NFTs in Discord just because I enjoy making solutions for that. So I think when you talk about how does it empower users, the builders, I think all those things do. And then what you can do a step further is you're locking in. You can have a collection, you can have individual NFTs. You're locking in your royalty on a per token basis. So you really have a lot of flexibility, and it really does. That enforce will not get passed, right? And it's simple. It's simplistic. It's meant to be. It's very easy to implement. And then you have that second piece, which was missing before, which is really the marketplace fees. So you don't have to come up with workarounds to do those types of fees. It just makes everything transparent, and you'll get that same experience no matter which medium you go to. And I think that just kind of ties it. For me, that ties everything that I focus on together, because it's just a nice user experience.
Really, really well put, Amir. And I think that's what it ultimately comes down to with these, is the only way to get that mass onboarding is to perfect that UI and the UX, right?
I appreciate that. Definitely, especially how much we work with members of our team like Brendan, Fernando, and Angelos. who have worked so dedicated and deeply with the crypto communities that we're in, especially since we've been in Wallet since around 2016, a lot of the people on Eucalyptus Labs team. And so that's why currently in the wallet, we feel there's still a deficit of how people want to share and view their NFTs. We know that they're social. We know that you should have a lot more functionality just by, having it in your wallet and being able to do cool things with it. So there's definitely still a deficit, and we're filling that in, but we're doing so by listening to the community and kind of asking them what they'd like to see. They'll keep in that koala direction. So we appreciate it, and something we'll always be working on. So look out for cool features and ways that as a wallet and as a custody, we can help, or non-custody rather, we can help you get the most value out of your NFTs. That's economic, and also, mentally, just people love NFTs. So it's a highlight.
Perfect. And by the way, if Sensei or TJ, you want to pop in at any point, feel free to. I do have a few more things though that I did want to make sure that we touch on as we dig into Marmalade. Also, one more question, then I'll bring it to Sensei. It's kind of just digging a little bit further into Marmalade. So I know Marmalade has these stackable policies, and that they try to contribute to the flexibility and versatility of really NFT creation, design. So I know we definitely have artists in the crowd, people that are curious, right? How do these policies work? So I'd love to get a little bit more color on them. Do you want to start us out, Rhino?
Sure, I can give a quick overview, and probably best to let Amir get a little bit deeper into the tech side of things. The idea right now, when we talk about the stackable contracts, there you go. That's probably, I should have kept a count as to how many times I'm going to say that word. The idea behind actually having those policies in place is that it gives the control back to the creators, but not only in a way that it's you're suddenly having to learn kind of like medicine in order to be able to add a royalty capability, or in order to be able to publish your NFT and publish a collection, and now you've got a solve world piece just to try and understand how do I write into a smart contract. If you remember, or if anybody knows enough about Kadena, I'm just going to take a little step back here. If anybody knows enough about Kadena, the secret sauce behind Kadena is packed. Smart contract language, human readable. Any JavaScript developer can essentially create a smart contract. It makes it really simple to be able to create the smart contracts themselves, and makes it a lot easier for both onboarding, building, delivering, creating, etc. We've used the exact same concepts and methodology when it comes to Marmalade. We're leveraging the same components, the same smarts behind it, the same simplistic approach. And I say simplistic in heavy inverted commas, because simple doesn't mean that there's not a lot of very complex mathematical algorithm, cryptography and whatnot happening underground, but a simple approach to allowing the artist to be able to create their NFTs, create their NFT collection, capture their royalties, capture the components that they want to behind it, even give them the ability to create dynamic NFTs, the ability to modify components of the NFT as things evolve, whether it's in a game, whether it's during some kind of competition, whether there's a V2 of the artwork, whether you want to control what we call like barriers or guards around who can mint, how many people can mint, maintaining those allow lists a lot simpler. But creating a way that you have this simple base layer, which we call our concrete policies. And for simplistic terms, it's a toggle on, toggle off kind of switch. I mean, we can build it into a UI. And then this immutable layer, which then allows the artist to add a little extra functionality, a little extra components to it. But these are immutable. They will not change once you've actually added them. And then there's one additional piece behind this, and we haven't spoken about this yet, but we do have this capability and this concept of off-chain URI. And what that means, real simple terms for anybody here, what that means is, to date, most of the NFTs that get minted get stored on the blockchain. It's just the nature of how they've been done to date. With these off-chain URIs, you have the ability to either mint on-chain or mint the actual asset. Have the metadata actually live off-chain in some other kind of repository. really giving choice and control back to the creators or the developers themselves. I'll pass it off to Amir because he can probably add a lot more deep down technical guidance behind this.
I think you. I mean, you covered it pretty well. I might take a step back actually and say, if you picture, I think the easiest way to say how you can leverage stackable policies, the concrete policies right out of the box. What we've had for a while, some know it's a secret, some know it's not a secret. Is a minter, right? So you can go in and make your own NFTs. We're adding functionality so that you can also create collections through there, because the process itself is very simple, but it does require a little bit of work to make sure that it's a nice, clean flow for users. And so that all right there was next to impossible before. It was all custom. It wasn't trackable without doing a lot of extra lookups. So one of the things that got added, which I think is probably undersold, is the ability for us to reverse look up NFTs on chain and see which collection they're a part of. And that's so simple of a thing to say, but really, that along with the ability to, Ryan said the toggle on, toggle off, that's exactly what we're doing. So you have all the basic policies that are what make up Marmalade concrete policies. And you literally can just go through each one and toggle it on or toggle it off. And I don't necessarily care what people use. The idea was to take everything that's programmatic about the blockchain and put it into a very simple UI, which we can do now. The off-chain URI data, that one is what would allow us in the future to be able to move NFTs, to other blockchains, vice versa, to move between our 20 chains on Kadena or whatever amount of chains we have. It really allows that flexibility, and that should not be undersold. I think that flexibility is really, really one of the biggest features for me as a developer, and for me to be able to deliver what some of the features that people have asked for. You can go deeper. You can start talking about doing gaming and having your NFTs morph and things of that nature, because there's no hard cap on that. We're not restricting it, so you have to fit in this little bucket. Most people will fit in that bucket, but now when we want utility, we want other things, those are still able to be done through a web form. There's no reason we can't, which means we will. And so I think those things right there make it very powerful. And honestly, it just translates to a better experience for everybody. So I think, you combine the policies, you add different layers into that, and at the end of the day, you're still on the Marmalade standard. Even though your policies are different, I can still move that NFT the same way I move other ones. Maybe I have to account for a few things, but I can look all those up from the same place, the same ledger. It just makes things simple, again, so that you can move across any platform.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. I didn't want to just butt in there. Awesome, Amir. Great explanation. I wanted to actually add another piece, which, funny enough, Amir and I were talking about this earlier. It is very important to also understand that NFTs, it sounds like what we're talking about when we talk about NFTs, are just a collection of JPEGs, which, cool, could be a monkey, could be a car, could be something. But we are not restricted by any way, shape, or form through the Marmalade technology and smart contracts and capabilities to just create artist-driven collections. Any use case for NFTs can be actually leveraged through Marmalade, whether that's going to be RWA or real-world assets, whether it's going to be fractionalized ownership of something, whether it's going to be your membership ticket to maybe an event. I'm going to place a big bet on, not financial advice, on airline tickets. The ability to be able to buy my airline ticket. If I need to transfer it to somebody, I can. If I need to sell it, I can. But it also should give me capabilities to gain my reward points and my status symbols and my status within the actual airline or whatever program. And so in building this standard, this Marmalade standard and the capabilities behind it, it's not restricted to just one type of NFT or one use case for NFT. it will expand and grow and evolve to cover all these use cases that we're seeing for NFTs that actually are driving value. I will say this, I think that there is still huge value in amazing art and amazing art collections. So I'm not diminishing that in any way, shape, or form. I'm a collector myself and own a number of NFTs and collections. I like to see also the extended use and the extended utility behind that, which may just be access to a community. So we're also giving that ability to the artists and creators and developers here that they can start with one concept in mind and add on. Just like you can add on the policies, you can now add on those capabilities or functionality through Marmalade.
And Ryan, if I can add there, I think a lot of the time I see people scratching their heads when we talk about some of these ideas, like putting a airline ticket on an NFT. And people say, well, how are you ever going to convince a $1 billion corporation like Delta or someone to actually give users that power and to take advantage of some of these technologies that we're talking about? And the answer is that you have to give them a product that's really intuitive, that's really powerful, that really just gets them up to speed as to how they can benefit from this kind of application. And that's kind of the solutions that we're busy working at Eucalyptus Labs and what we're doing in Koala Wallet, because we know that a wallet and this interface to Web3 and to all these decentralized applications, that's just the first step in a really long step of education, of acquisition, of utility and adoption in this cycle. So it's taking the attack vector on each one of these fronts from a development perspective, like you hear from Amir, from the business development department, and at tech side you hear from Ryan. And the fusion is, again, something that I think sets Kadena apart in that powerful underlying technology that we're talking about today.
All right, love the answers. Sensei, I want to pull it back to you now. I saw your hand up before.
Yeah, thank you. Guys, you've done a really incredible job of explaining all of this on a very good technical level. Let me ask you, I mean, we do see the future of NFTs, they're going to be used in, traditional finance and loans and all kinds of stuff that, really hasn't been created yet, that a lot of things are working on with tokenization. But, when you're working with artists and builders, after they're using, your platform, what are kind of some of the things that they're communicating to you of, how much, how different, Marmalade is comparing to what they've used before? What are the things that are coming to you and kind of, raving about that, they weren't able to do before, but now they're able to do with this platform?
I'll start with this and hand it off to the rest of the crew here, because it's a wonderful question, and it's actually a question that I'm going to say has two fundamental parts to it. Because one is building on Kadena as a whole, and then two is building on a subset of what the blockchain offers today, which is a vertical known as the NFTs or creator industry. So I want to talk about both because I think it's very important to cover, because it also highlights the true value and the ease of onboarding for developers and creators when we talk about Kadena as a blockchain. And that is the whole idea behind creating Kadena as an L1, as a blockchain, to be able to provide this foundation for building all these dApps and whatever else behind is Pact. And Pact is a human-readable smart contract language developed with JavaScript in mind, JavaScript developers. So if you look at the number of other blockchain developers out there today, you'll be astonished to know that it's somewhere around, I think I saw today, the latest stat was that there was just under 20,000 active blockchain developers in the world, which is frightening. It's actually quite scary because we feel like there are millions of people building, or at least hundreds of thousands of people building. The beauty around building on Kadena and building with Pact smart contract in mind, and how it then translates into Marmalade, is we open up the doors to JavaScript developers, where we have somewhere around, I think last count was 13 or 15 million JavaScript developers in the world. And that doesn't mean that they all can and will build on Kadena, but what it does mean is that the translation from Web 2, from developing in Web 2 to somewhere in the Web 2.5 space, which is probably where most of the industry sits today, to building in Web 3 is not as much of a hockey stick per se from a learning curve perspective, as it would be if you had to completely learn this new created smart contract and blockchain language that kind of feels like a whole new world, a whole new science to learn. And so we felt, or at least we've received, similar feedback from developers that are building products on Kadena. So whether they're building a wallet or whether they're building some DeFi platform or whatever it may be. Similarly, we're seeing the same with those that have interacted with Marmalade, in that it is a simplistic approach to be able to onboard and learn those smart contract languages, to learn those switches or toggles or attributes or whatever you want to call it that allow you to create your smart contract for your NFT collection. So it's all about creating and developing this platform that is easier to onboard for the creators, because if we can't get that right, we can't onboard. I'm not going to say the masses, because we're far from onboarding masses, but at least onboarding creators in a way that makes it easy for them to create their collections and sell their collections. And so the feedback has been quite well aligned with that working with Marmalade, working with Pact is quite a lot easier than working with the majority of other smart contract languages. I'll hand off to probably Amir for now, and then to Koby.
Yeah, I think I agree with all that, and I think it's tough because NFTs are NFTs, right? There's a lot of different ways to do it. Even within a standard, there's certain things you can do. I think the biggest one for me isn't necessarily a forward-looking or a visible feature, but it's some of the things that happen under the hood. And I'd go back to, if you're going to lock your NFT and create a vault out of your NFT where you can store other things, you can do that, right? You can create your policy and you can do that, because we don't stop you from doing that, right? You can do those types of things and in Pact, right? It's not going to limit you on that sense. It's really quite simple, but also when you want to open it up, it can be very complex, and that's good. That's a good thing, because once we start talking about expanding into, I always call it GameFi. I don't do anything traditional finance anymore in my life, but definitely, capturing what we can do on that side of the fence. I think that will be one of the biggest things that shows up over the next 6 to 12 months, is how we're able to integrate some of the larger gaming communities. And when you see that experience, it'll make sense. And really the security of it, the security that is built into the Pact smart contract language, that's probably where you're going to have your biggest deviation. Not standards, not any of that stuff, because everybody's going to have those. Everybody has to have certain features. I really think my two things are going to be on the game side of the house and seeing what people actually do with that. And I'm excited to work on those projects. So that will be a really fun one for me. But I think the security is very hard to, you can always get phished, but it's very hard comparatively to get, robbed because of the way Pact handles transactions, and NFTs are no different, right? It's, again, keeping a standard approach allows us to keep that security profile consistent. And I think those should not be overlooked. I think the security of anything, especially on the blockchain, is one of the top priorities for most people.
Yeah, Sensei?
Yeah, man, guys, thank you so much for the answers. I was thinking to myself here, it would be a good really idea for the audience to understand, where do you see this NFT revolution going? As we look out in the world and we see regulation is slowly but surely coming in, and as we go into the 2024, 2025 bull market, right now it's pictures and maybe they're dipping toes into trade fund different stuff. But where do you guys see NFTs going over the next couple of years, and what are the greatest use cases that you feel are kind of maybe not looked at right now but could be big in the future here?
Oh wow, I love that question. I'll start off. I wish I had a crystal ball, especially if I had a time machine to go back and say "told you so." But I would say here's a number of use cases that I think are going to become critical and highly valuable for NFTs. This is a Rhino comment. This is not necessarily an industry representation, but this is where I think we're going to start seeing. I've already mentioned memberships, whether it's airlines, whether it's clubs, whether it's whatever it is, hotel memberships, et cetera, community memberships. I think the use and some of this I'm already seeing just from some other groups that I speak with, what's actually been done with one of the airlines around being able to do the ticketing and being able to sell, trade them without gouging, money gouging, should I say, is one piece. But I think something that we're going to see that is really going to drive interest, and I'm going to dare say that we'll probably see, because you talk about regulation and the involvement of the government and whatnot, I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing loans, particularly for assets like homes. So home loans, mortgages, etc., being managed or backed by both by crypto, and then the actual trading and ownership of those assets being managed within an NFT. I think more so, which is what I would love to see, is having the ability to have fractional ownership of assets, whether they are homes, buildings. If you think about holiday homes or whatnot, where you may have a shared agreement with some friends, but say you can actually prove your ownership, you can transfer the ownership, etc., etc. I think those will be some of the valid use cases. I don't know what's going to happen. I feel like there's still this question around what's going to go on with JPEGs and PFPs and whatever. I think they're going to evolve, and I think those will evolve into membership components per se. But I do think, and although we've spoken about real world assets for probably the last 2.5, maybe 3 years, I think we're now actually starting to see the viability of doing so. And even the exchange of titles, or whether it's a car, whether it's a house, whether it's a vacation home, whether it's a boat, whatever it may be, I think those are going to be some of the use cases. And then the other piece, which Amir actually touched on, is gaming, GameFi gaming, ownership of assets. But I think they've got a little way to go with that, because we've seen the industry test iterations of in-game assets and ownership, and it hasn't had the adoption that one would have liked to have seen just yet. So I think we're going to see some new iterations, some innovation take place. But those would probably be my top use cases right now.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
You know, to jump in here, I think one of the things I'm most excited to watch and just to be a part of is the evolution of, I guess, the companies and innovators in the space, given that a lot of the time after some kind of bubble, and I will admit, a lot of NFT hype and craze did turn out to be a bubble, of course. And after a bubble, just like in 2000 and pets.com, you get your Amazons, you get your winners. Same with coming out of ICOs, you have your Binances and you have your crypto zoos or those as well. So I think that what we're going to see is a lot of these winners still dominating a lot of the market, like OpenSeas, like others who have had a lot of success, and those collections as well. But this is a unique field in which the smaller, the David or the Goliath, the smaller parties and developers often have a lot of network effect and can really unseat these larger firms. So I think it's going to keep everyone on their toes, and it's just going to be another really fast-moving place of innovation. Specifically, I'm really excited for real-world assets coming onto the blockchain through NFTs. It supports a new level of visibility, of honesty, of tracking, and just capabilities with those assets, moving them border to border with ease and minimal fees. And so again, I'm really excited to watch this innovative space innovate and work with it to make it the best it can be.
I think can I just maybe add 2 seconds? I think holistically, think about I'm a U.S. citizen. I got my social security card, which gets hacked the damn born and shared. But I think if you think about
Equifax.
Yeah, exactly. I think if you think about shows, concerts, movies, airplanes, government, accepting into buildings, key cards, take the sum of all those parts, and you could have one NFT badge or QR code reader, whatever you want that you have to approve and sign. You could put somebody's photo on that NFT, and it's not going to change, right? You can't game that system. It's inherently protected. And then you have a cycle, every few years, just like your driver's license. When you update your driver's license, you update your NFT photo, and then you get a new ID. But we still track, right? We track, previous and new iterations and things like that. So you have like an endless use case on that, where we have such big pitfalls today with security, with breakdowns, with voting. You could have one ID for all of those things, and it can be public and it can be secure. And I think that right there, to me, is how we'll break a lot of those barriers down when people start accepting it as an actual secure method, because all of our information is public anyways. As soon as we're born, it's stolen. It is a fact of life. And so that is a good way, in my opinion. Own it. Here's how we protect it. And then we can memorialize it with your image and your details, and obviously not like terribly personal things, but this is you, this is me. I can use it anywhere. That's what I want to see personally, more than anything.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Okay, really, really good stuff. I am going to throw another question into the mix here that I did want to make sure that we touched on, and it continues to lock in on some of the Marmalade stuff, right? And that's kind of where I've been focused. I want to talk a little bit more just about some of the artists that are going to be using Marmalade and how the locked-in smart contracts work and what advantages they provide. I know that royalties and sales have been a huge topic for artists as they try to navigate that with different marketplaces offering different options, right? So perhaps you want to start us off here, Rhino, with a little bit on how the locked-in smart contracts work.
I was literally going to say, I've spoken about Stackable and I've spoken about royalties to death, so I was going to hand it to Amir, but I'm happy to just at least kick it off. And I guess it'll be more of a repeat of what I said prior. And that is, the idea behind this is to have at the base layer, at the concrete policy layer, is where you can start setting a lot of these toggles, a lot of these switches, a lot of these attributes, these components, these capabilities. I'm running out of words from the thesaurus here. The ability to basically add functionality, and most importantly, your royalties into the smart contract. And I said this earlier on. I'm going to repeat again because it is critical that everybody here understands this. The royalty contract, the component, the rules, and that you set around the royalties are set in the smart contract. That means it follows the asset. That means no matter what happens with that asset, no matter what happens with this NFT, buy, sell, trade, swap, whatever it is, anything that would trigger an event that is related to a royalty, the creator is guaranteed, because it is written into a policy, and which is immutable on the blockchain, is written in the smart contract, you will get your royalty. It is critical to understand that, and it is critical to know that by building it into the smart contract, it follows the asset. I can't add a lot more behind that, so I'm going to hand off to Amir in case he can add some more flavor.
The only thing I would add on that is the marketplace fees too, right? We built that. That was a request from all the marketplaces, right? So then we can have a standard fee structure. Now that's a variable fee. You can pick what you want. But you can lock these things in from a sales perspective while not touching the NFT itself. And so it sounds goofy, but before it was difficult to do that. And if you took your NFT somewhere else, if I didn't bake it directly into your NFT contract, my marketplace, I may not be selling it, but I'm going to get the fee and you're not. And so I think just that shift really creates the seller piece, the creator piece, the marketplace piece. It's just buttoned up really nice. It makes sense. It's clear. It's easy to work with. And my goal is to list every NFT that I can, every collection that I can. And so for me, having a standard policy, I can't explain how much better of an experience that is, where I can spend all my time on useful things, right? Where I'm not figuring out how every single project did their NFTs. I know how they did them because it's in front of me. And I think that for me personally is what I like most about what's going on right now. in that space.
I want to add this piece, if I may. We're constantly evolving here. We're building, we're listening to the audience, we're listening to our community, we're listening to our ecosystem, we're listening to our amazing partners. We listen to everybody that's building or asking questions or integrating or pushing the limits of what we're building here. I invite any of the creators, any of the artists that are here that want to test it out, that want to provide some feedback, that want to see what these standards are all about and understand that this is not just smoke and mirrors. This is an actual smart contract language that is built with the artist in mind. I certainly welcome you to try that. You can reach out to us, reach out to any of these amazing people, Koby or Amir or myself, anybody here. We'd love to get you building and testing it out. It's an open offer.
DMs are open.
I love it. And I actually want to remind people as well, if you want to win some KDA, which maybe then you use to get into some of this Marmalade stuff, that is pinned to the top of the space. Make sure to take advantage. I've seen a bunch more of you going in and retweeting, almost 400 retweets on that at this point. Make sure that you are also commenting. You do have to tag 3 people in order for your entry to count. And yeah, that's right in the top of the space. And I also retweeted it on my timeline just to make it super easy to find. So if you're on desktop, you can just go right to my timeline and you will be able to see it there. So just trying to make things as easy as possible for everybody. We've really gone through the depths of Marmalade here. I'm not sure if there's anything else that people want us to touch on. If you do have a question, you can feel free to submit it. We've had some great questions from Crypto Sensei. We do have about 6-7 minutes left on the space. I would like to give you a second real quick, Koby, just to give us maybe a minute or two of updates on stuff going on with Koala Wallet. If there's anything else going on that you think we should touch on with Marmalade, and then we'll take it from there.
Absolutely. So Koala Wallet, we've stayed at it, really been focused on developing for the Kadena blockchain. And we have some updates that are coming out that I think everyone can be very excited for. A lot of the wallets out there, we didn't reinvent the wheel here. And a lot of other wallets have those extension browsers with them. And they launched those before mobile. We went with mobile first, knowing that, not everyone even has a computer. And we're really excited to have our extension coming out in just another few weeks. So keep alert for that. And soon after that extension, you're going to see the testnet and developer network of Kadena inside those wallets too. Here's where it gets really interesting, I think. We had a discussion internally and we said, how can we bring people to Kadena? How can we share everything that their team is doing, the developer tools that are available with Pact? Well, why don't we open up this wallet to so many more ecosystems and coalesce a lot of the best of what we do to the outer blockchain world. So as Kadena reaches those bridging and other opportunities that are coming onto the chain, we're doing the same and we're connecting with more ecosystems. So everyone here can expect a lot of attention to really be brought to the Kadena ecosystem, to its projects like the ones Amir works on, and a lot more features in the wallet when it comes to our main question of how do we make the best wallet for users to get the most most value out of their assets. So it's not about how many fees we can take or how many places we can nickel and dime. It's about, if you're trusting Koala Wallet, how can we give you the best feature set possible? So that's my spiel. Check out Koala, and even if you don't download and give it a 5-star, which I'd recommend, maybe just take a look at the team and what we've done different, because we might just convince you that Kadena is a really cool place to explore, and Koala is the best place for you to store your Kadena. So that's the spiel. And on Marmalade, I would just say that, again, the features that are just now being available by Marmalade V2, again, represent the difference of the Kadena blockchain in having that really focused approach of focusing on creating the best semiconductor type of tech they can and letting people come and build on the solutions. So that's what you'll see in the coming months. And I appreciate being here with you today, Wolf. It's always a pleasure chatting.
Yeah, really, really fun having you on as always, Koby. Excited to see what you guys continue to do. Highly encourage everyone to download, of course, the Koala Wallet app. I do have it downloaded on my phone as the app, so recommending that to all others, and very excited to hear that browser add-on is coming out as well. We could do a couple other final comments. Amir, what else is exciting for you that's coming up with the Kadena ecosystem? What else are you focused on, and any other things that we didn't touch on with Marmalade, which you'd like to mention?
So the biggest things that I look forward to is being able to show everybody what we're working on in the background. And I know I get the pleasure of working with Squeegee all the time. Not everybody gets that pleasure, but I do, and I appreciate every opportunity I get there. And we have a build fun. I think I call it build fun mindset. We find something fun, it's challenging, it maybe hasn't been done before, and we build it. And so the opportunity there is taking the NFT experience. Ideally, I'd like to be able to soup to nuts handle NFTs for you, whether it's utility, whether it's normal images. I'd like you to be able to create them, mint them, create collections, get your royalties settled up, do everything and in between, help you with getting your images loaded onto IPFS. Those are all things that are just built into our platform. And there's still some work to be done there, but we kind of trail with the Marmalade developers, and kind of as they update things, I update things, and on the pack side of the house. And really, once that settles, there's a lot of cool things. The marketplace is just the final piece that's kind of a requirement. But all the builder tools are what I'm focused on. So I want a great experience for builders or creators. We have one of the projects that's out there is an AI art generator. I'm just working through these things as I have time. But really, once Marmalade's settled and made that, we'll be able to release some of these tools and finish them up and release them. I'm most excited about the Discord bots. You can do anything and interact with any contract. There's really not a limit on what you can do with them. It's just a matter of programming them. And so for me, I've had a blast building those, and I look forward to, I think people will really enjoy that once they see what that actually means and what that experience looks like. It's just a little buggy right now, but work through those bugs, and I think it's going to be a great tool for all of our Discords and the community.
Wonderful. Amir, it was really a pleasure having you on tonight. Thank you so much for hopping in with us.
Thank you so much.
All right. Okay. Hey, Sensei, it was really a pleasure having you on as well. Did you have any other comments you wanted to share tonight?
No, it's an honor, guys. Thank you so much for having me, Gav. And I just wish everybody the best and have a truly fantastic day.
Thank you. And Rhino, I'm going to give you then final comment on the space here. If you want to walk me through any other exciting stuff upcoming with Kadena that you're focused on, and anything else along Marmalade you'd like to talk about.
Sure, and it would be terrible if I did not end off by saying stackable. Just keep that in mind. Stackable, scalable, composable. That's all I need people to remember about Marmalade, at least to start off with. I'll say this as well. Just remember, as a creator, as a builder, as a developer, if you're building on Kadena, if you're building in our ecosystem, if you're contributing to Web3, thank you. I love that. And just remember that your imagination is truly unlimited. Go for it. Test, build, try. And one of my favorite sayings, which is fail forward. Keep testing, keep iterating, keep trying, and if you fail, get up and do it better next time. Lastly, what I do want to add to this, because it's completely separate to Marmalade, but very important from a Kadena perspective. If you have a very interesting project, if you have a viable dApp that you're building, or something that you can add to the ecosystem that you would like to build on Kadena, please reach out to us. We do have a grants program as well, so we are very supportive of builders and the Web3 ecosystem, and would love to see a number of you building and integrating into our ecosystem. Thank you, and thanks, Wolf. Appreciate it. I always love my time with you.
It's always a good time, and I love that saying, to fail forward. Definitely stands with me. Okay, perfect. Well, this was really, really fun having the Kadena team on. Looking forward to our next space as always, and seeing what you guys build out. Always good vibes with the Kadena ecosystem. Thank you to Amir, Koby, Rhino, Crypto Sensei was on here, the Kadena and Koala Wallet accounts. To everybody else, I'll be back on Spaces tomorrow morning at 9:15 a.m. Eastern for some live futures trading, and I hope you'll join me then. Take care. Have a great rest of your evening and enjoy the Kadena ecosystem. Have a good one, everybody.
Thanks, Wolf. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
That wraps up another amazing AMA. Thank you for listening. Here at Kadena Ecosystem, we strive to bring an open platform for projects being built on Kadena to present themselves to the community. Please ensure to do your own research on the projects before investing. Also ensure to follow us on our social media from Twitter to subscribing to our weekly newsletter to keep up to date on everything KDA related. You can find all the links in the description below. Take care.